What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we are completing our Christmas in July video series, I guess.
I got my Christmas ornament tie.
Oh, that's dapper.
Thank you.
And we're going to basically kind of go over the knives that we discussed in our first Christmas in July video where we kind of explained what we were doing. I'll link that above. But yeah.
Yeah, so Josh and I bought each other a knife, and the idea was for us to figure out, maybe how to be a little snarky or buy them something that they would like or buy something that we would like. Kind of like what you do at Christmas, right? When you buy a friend or a family member or even a kid a toy, a lot of times it's a toy that maybe you wanted and you bought it for them. So that's kind of what we did here. Yeah. Or maybe something you want them to want. And so that's kind of what I did. And
it was kind of a fun social experiment.
Yeah.
Not social, but it's something that kind of took us out of our comfort zones a little bit, I think. Because,
you more than me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because I was the one being the jerk about the thing. And so, yeah, that takes us right into a little bit of a review. We're going to kind of go through the same points we always do, but rather than attaching a score to everything, we're just going to do a discussion back and forth about our experience with these particular knives. And I think they're both pretty popular knives, and they're both knives that you can go and get today.
Yeah.
Which is nice because it kind of takes us out of that Grail territory and takes us into U.S.-made automatic available knife.
Right.
So you can go online and get these right now.
And both of these knives are extremely usable knives. They're quality knives. They're a knife that you could rely on. We didn't get into the gimmick of getting like an M-Tech or, knives that we wouldn't carry ourselves.
Yeah. We wanted to be under $200. We want to hit that $100 price range. And one of them is a little bit beyond that, but
it's a ballpark.
It's the idea of less than $200.
Yeah. So if you didn't catch the first video, again, it's linked above. But we both carried, Greg had grabbed me this Gerber Propel in Odie Green with a Stonewash Tanto blade. And he has
the awesome Boker Protect Kwaiken. So obviously I got better on the deal than he did. There's no doubt about that. Nothing wrong against that Gerber, but just from a cool factor, you're at the top of the heap here with this guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So ergos, like, as far as ergonomics of that knife, how, you've been carrying it for about a month.
Not great. It's a stick. I mean, this is gentleman automatic, so the ergos aren't phenomenal. But they're usable, right? It's a light use knife for sure. But it's fine. It fits the hand well, being as small of a knife as it is.
Yeah.
It's not too shabby. We do have a lanyard option, which really helped because I carry it right here in my vest. And so if I'm going to have it here, it's nice to be able to grab by the lanyard.
Now the size of it, when we did the first video, you had kind of said that it's a gentlemanly type size.
Yeah, it's EDC, which I wanted that because I carry an automatic a lot of times that is full size and is tactical oriented, and this right here is something that I wanted that was more manageable and easier to use, and it is that.
Did you find it a more discreet automatic?
Yes, very discreet, and it fits right here. I mean, look, it's in the. Yeah. It's in the front pocket. The only thing sticking out is the lanyard, which is, as a nerd, I mean, that's fine by me. It's kind of cool. I like it. And I guess if I wanted to flip over my pocket, I could have hidden that lanyard, but I didn't want to. So, and another shout out to ZC, although I'm not using one of his beads here. I am using some of his lanyard. He has some cool lanyard that some cool paracord rather that you can get. But that's what I did. I hollowed out the paracord and then threw some beads on there to kind of match some of the colors of this to create that sort of pull factor that I wanted. So.
Yeah.
But ergos are fine. It fits in the hand good.
For a
but it's not. But it's
knife.
A gentleman knife, and I think for that, it's exactly what you're expecting. So.
Yeah, because you're not going to really be gripping down on it to do any
work. No. This is just going to open some boxes and maybe eat some food with it or something like that. But I've enjoyed carrying it. It's lightweight, fits the hand well. So tell us about yours.
Very grippy. Like, it's severe G10 on this knife. Like, the grip level on this is the equivalent of like an Emerson new out of the box. Like, it is grippy, which is great, and that's what you want with a knife like this. One thing I noticed about it, carrying it is there's no mistaking finding that button. Like it's out there, the little automatic button there.
And that actually, this is one of the few automatics that, due to that button, really does need to have that
safety.
That safety.
But I found myself hating the safety.
I understand. I hate all safeties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, like
being a Glock guy, the trigger's the safety on this. On knives, the trigger should be the safety as well. But you can tell with the Kwaiken here that you're not going to accidentally press that. And you probably wouldn't there either. But I'll tell you this, anything that's proud off of a knife that's in the back pocket would be a little bit of a concern. The front pocket, not as much. But the back pocket, I've actually cut myself with a side opening automatic by it opening my back pocket from sitting down in an office chair.
This is a knife that I think is oriented to people who are going to put it through hard use.
Yeah, it's a working knife.
It really is. Like in gloves, this would be fantastic. That grippy G10.
Yep.
Even if you weren't wearing gloves, but you're outside, maybe you're blue collar or something, and you're doing a lot of heavy labor. This is great for that, and that
you're not going to miss the fire.
You're not going to miss the fire, even with gloves. But the other nice thing is the safety works in two ways, and it also locks the blade up even more, where you can't hit that plunge to close it.
Exactly.
But as far as ergos, they're great. I mean, it's not slipping out of your hand. If your hand's wet, it's not slipping.
It's a working man's knife.
It really is.
That's a fact.
It really is, and
that is designed for work.
I would put this on par with like a Griptilian.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's automatic. So
yeah,
cool.
But good ergos. I mean, the only issues I really had was like pulling it out of my pocket, it snagging my pocket because it's so grippy.
Yeah, I can see that.
As far as that goes, but
yeah. But that'll wear in a little bit, and get a little smoother over time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Or you could even sand it down, take the pocket clip off, and sand that area down. Because if it's a working knife, that's kind of the thing. But it's the nice thing about that for me is that you get a lot of ergos for that's really close to $100 in a lot of retailers.
Yeah. So I think SMKW is like 120 right ish around that.
It's in that ballpark.
Yeah.
So.
And of course that's going to vary, but
he got the last one while we were when we were there.
Right.
So that was the one that we got, and that was it. So, but the ergos on it are solid. I think it's a great knife, a great working knife.
Deep carry too. That pocket clip is. I like a deep carry clip, and that one's nice, and especially if you're wearing. Again, I'm thinking of it from the type of person that might buy this knife. If you're really out there working hard, that's a really secure clip. It's deep. You're not going to bump into something.
It's so long. Yeah. All right, let's go into tactical. So that's interesting. So this is a miniature tactical knife.
Yeah,
it's weird because the blade length. This is inches here. You're at 3 inches, pretty much on the nose with this guy, and so that is right at kind of close to tactical. It is pointy, but what's interesting is the stock is so thick, and because the stock is so thick, you're not really as worried about it breaking off. So,
what steel is that?
154.
Yeah.
Not CPM, but CM, 154 CM. So kind of not the CPM, not the.
Well, that makes sense.
Not the micro grain structure.
That's kind of the ProTech.
Yeah, it's their standard.
There's a lot of 154 CM through ProTech.
Nothing wrong with it. Enjoy that for sure. So yeah, it's got a tactical ishness, but what it is, it's a downsized version of the tactical Kwaiken. Right. You really carry this, I think, for its slimness. Which, when you look right here,
it's an elegant knife.
It is. It's elegant. The blade is all the way inside. So, yeah, it's kind of tactical because it is a plunging knife. It does have a similar feel to a Godson. I think the Godson's a skosh bigger, which actually I like.
It does, and it has the shoulders, which I think for me, from a tactical perspective,
it lowers it.
Well, yeah,
not having shoulders. Right?
Well, not having very much of any kind of grip.
Yeah, it's clearly a design knife, and that's what you get with a design knife.
Yeah,
they're so specific on attaining a look that this is kind of a work of art, and it's black, and it is slick, and it's cool looking, and I love the fact that it has. I don't want to get into cool yet, so but yeah, it's sort of tactical. It's just a little short for it, and it's not grippy, so.
It's like a backup tactical knife.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, it's not going to be. You're not going to.
It could serve its purpose. It's not a primary, that's for sure.
There's better suited tactical knives.
Exactly.
Um, as far as the Propel here, it's got a lengthy blade and it's a Tonto blade.
Yes.
And it's almost a spear point Tonto blade.
Yeah.
Um,
Reinforces the tip, and that tip is thick.
Yeah, and so it's going to puncture.
Yeah.
And let's see, it's about almost 3.5. It is 3.5.
Yeah, it is.
So tactical, yeah, and then with that lockup, I mean, it's a secure knife in that grip. I would say it's pretty tactical.
You're gonna have to make metal internal components fail when it's on lock,
right,
in order for it to close.
Right.
So it's as secure as really it can be.
Now I will tell you this: looking at it, I would not grab this as a tactical knife. Another really cool feature that I didn't realize at first is this lanyard hole. They've given it an angle, so it's almost like a little, skull basher, glass breaker. It's very sharp, very pointy, so that adds to tactical feature.
Yeah.
Just not necessarily something I would go for right out of the box as a tactical knife. I would not have picked this up thinking, oh, well, that'd make a great tactical knife. But
it's just one of those things that has good crossover due to
exactly.
a couple of the great features, right?
It's a good, if you're going to carry one knife, on a job or something.
That's a great point.
This is a really great.
That's a great option for one knife, especially if you want domestic made. And it's S30V, so it's a high end steel. It's designed to cut.
It's a workhorse, so it's pretty tactical.
Yeah, it is.
Very militaristic, I think.
Yeah, with the OD.
With the OD and just kind of the angle of the G10 and everything. And so, me personally, probably wouldn't have picked it up as a tactical knife, but again, it's got a good crossover.
Yeah. That takes us right into EDC. So, this is very EDC.
Oh, for sure.
It is such an EDC knife. I really enjoyed it as EDC. I carried it quite often. If I was in dress, I had this, in the vest pocket. Because what's nice about dressing like this is there's a guy on Instagram called Not Enough Pockets, and it's perfect for the knife life, because you never have enough pockets for all the EDC gear.
Especially when you get into flashlights and pry bars.
Oh, everything, right? And so, it was nice to be able to have it here and to be able to use it. But I just appreciated having it. It's a very EDC style. I'll say that with it being super duper thick for its stubbiness and its small height, it was relatively difficult to get it hair popping sharp. And that is just because of the thickness of this thing. It's a wedge. Kind of like in our review of the Tor, your fixed blade, how that's kind of wedge-like. Thicker blades that aren't, the thicker it is, the wider it has to be in order to engage into a nice fine edge. And I think for a knife like this, I do like that, and I do like the slimness of it, but from a sharpening standpoint, it was rather tough.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I would have thought it would have been simpler, just because I thought it would have been good slicer just because of the blade shape.
Yeah, and it is, but it was actually, when I was using it with oranges and stuff like that, it was actually rather difficult to go through the orange.
Really? You'd have to just stab it.
You'd have to stab it first.
From an EDC perspective, I think this is a great knife. I mean, it's a Tonto blade, so it's not an EDC blade. But I've seen it. You've seen it. I'm sure many of them have seen it. A Tonto blade's not going to stop a guy from slicing into something. I mean, sure, drop point, clip point, something like that's going to be better. It'll still do the job. I think, again, it just adds to the usability of this. I think it is a well-rounded blade. And it looks like your average pocket knife. Kind of. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Not your average pocket knife, but like, your classic Gerber.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just a knife. It's a tool.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
it's got a low cool factor, but to some, it's probably got a high cool factor. I don't know. I know we're not talking about cool yet, but depends on your job. Because if you need that extra lockup and you need something that's going to be a hardy, bust through some stuff knife.
And some guys are concerned about that automatic opening up and closing and stuff like that. And if you're working with the knife, that actually is a concern. And it is good that they have that there. Yeah. I don't like the locks personally, but with a protruding thing. But it's definitely
because let's say I was working and I was really cutting into something. It's easy to depress that. It's loose right now, right? I'll get the button depressed.
Good point.
Because of how my grip is. But when you hit that lock, you can't even push that button in.
Yeah, it doesn't even begin to push.
Yeah, so you know, if you're working, cutting straps, cutting limbs, whatever it may be, great EDC knife with this. It's not going to be an excellent slicer, but if it's got an edge, which this does, it'll cut.
And it was pretty easy to take that edge to the next level too, because of how thin it does go. That saber grind actually worked out well, and that's an extremely sharp knife.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was a bit of a challenge. It is sharp now, but I really had to work at it. And from an aesthetic standpoint, sometimes you don't want a wide bevel on a knife. The wider it gets, it kind of looks like you've really been chewing on it from a sharpening standpoint. But I just stopped short of it being like, ooh, I don't like that grind, because it's designed to look good. So it is kind of a weird thing, but that width of blade is really great for EDC use. So, all right.
Agree.
Yeah. And what is it? Cool factor?
Yep.
Yeah. So cool factor. Man, this is a cool knife. I think it's very cool. I love
it's super cool.
all these different aspects about it. You know what's interesting is the pocket clip isn't exactly black. It's almost a bronzed black. It's an interesting color. It almost looks like it's designed to play off of the ProTech letters. Actually used a bronze lettering on the Boker USA and the ProTech Burnley and the 154. And that's actually why I chose to kind of go with a bronze color to pop off of the letters off the knife. And so it's pretty neat. But yeah, this is a very cool knife to me. I just like how elegant it is. I like how it's a simple
It's very precision.
It is very, very precision. And it is snappy. It is ProTech.
Yeah.
Right? I think it has just the right... So... From like a cool standpoint, it does everything well. But the thing that isn't as cool is when you go to close it, because it's so hidden. Sometimes you really have to kind of push all the way down for the button to come back.
Yeah,
you have to kind of get the meat of your finger in there, right? It's not a game changer, but I just did notice it when I was playing with it.
Yeah, especially if you're not like looking at your hand while you're closing it.
If you're not thinking about it, that button's going to be partially depressed. Right. So it's a watch out on any, I think, fully hidden, whereas your Gerber, the leverage is going to be there because it sticks out further, right?
Right.
So anytime you have a Kwaiken or a hidden blade in the tang, you're always going to have to do a little extra effort.
Which, with a knife like that,
not offended by it, at least. It's just you have to know how to use it.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of a security issue with the knife, I think. Because with a Kwaiken type blade, that blade could easily fling out and bite your hand.
Yes.
Because it's a tactically designed blade.
Yes.
So it's gonna cut.
And it does have a slight just angle this way. It's gonna do a backside cut.
Exactly.
That's a fact. Actually, the Medford guy on Instagram was opening a box and he was using the backside of his blade so he didn't get goo all over it. And it kind of blew my mind. I never thought about doing that.
That's nifty.
Because he didn't want to get goo on there. So you can take pictures and stuff, or just look at it. You don't want the tape on there.
Yeah, that's true, and it's always kind of a nightmare. You got to like really scrub your knife.
You really have to get.
I always feel like I'm going to cut myself.
Exactly, always.
Yeah,
cut myself, and I do sometimes. I've cut myself on this channel.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
From a cool perspective, in the right hands, it is a cool knife. For me specifically, it's just not what I would have grabbed right off the cuff. It is cool. It's militaristic if you're into that kind of thing. It is tactical. There's just aspects of it that, for me personally, they're not my favorite. But, again, it's not a knife that's really designed to be cool.
No, I agree. It's not a cool knife. This is a cool knife. That is not
It's not sleek.
Cool knife.
But I could see where somebody might like it for, it's kind of got that tactical coolness.
Yeah, it's kind of in that zone. So. It feels like Gerber's attempt to sort of redeem some of the kind of less expensive budget line,
right?
And to do it at a reasonable value. It's an excellent value.
It very much is.
I think it's one of the best values you can buy today. It's the price of. Let me ask you this: other than the look, from a function, usability, and materials, would you carry this over the Lawman?
Oh, 100% carry it over the Lawman.
See, and they're the same price. And so that's where you kind of get into that, and it's domestic, so it's like, wow, that's a lot of knife for the money.
Yeah. because
yeah.
because where this knife wins over the lawman, and one thing before we get into that, the action on this, I was actually really impressed with. I own several automatic knives, Microtech, ProTech, very excellent, well-made, well-known automatic knives. For this being a Gerber, I mean, it flies open. It's a serious automatic knife. But where this wins over the lawman is the lawman was a thin knife. Um, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, as you saw in the video. You actually prefer a thin knife.
Yep.
But this one, where it's not as thin, it makes up for in the materials with the jimping. Like there's jimping on the spine of the knife. There's not any on the spine of the blade, but on the spine of these scales here, there's jimping. There's jimping all around it. It's grippy. When I hold it in my hand, I feel 100% safe having it in my hand. I don't think my hand's going anywhere. And if I had a glove, it would heighten that even more. Whereas, we kind of marketed the lawman, or we're not Cold Steel. We didn't market the lawman, but the lawman's kind of marketed the same way this is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this beats it on every level.
Agreed.
Besides, the blade.
If you want a black knife, the lawman is a great sort of that EDC tactical black knife.
It's got more of an EDC blade as well.
It does. So if you're going more of that black knife and you can't have this kind of arrangement, then I guess the lawman would win in that category. But overall, I think having an automatic at that price with those materials is really good.
And
it's domestic.
Yeah, it's domestic. And honestly, like if you're in mixed company, like this knife is far less intimidating than like I think a lawman would be, because it's not blacked out everywhere.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like it's
not wick.
Yeah,
we ought to have a wick scale. Like this is like high on the wick scale, right?
Yeah,
it's like not wick.
No,
0.
No, this is more
9.
Yeah, John McClane.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is it's a good pocket knife. I can't say anything bad about it. It's just not what I would have gone out and gotten, but there's nothing bad about it.
And that leads me to the last question that I would like to know is, are you going to keep the knife? And that's okay.
Just because I have so many other knives that I would pick over this, probably not.
And I think we know somebody who wants that knife or would want that knife.
Yeah.
All right.
So
get an opportunity to kind of, yeah.
So I'll say that's not anything against this knife. Me not keeping it. It's just
and to make it fair, that's an open thing between us. This wasn't really a gift from me to him. It was more of, obviously a theme to the channel, right. Meaning like you don't have to keep this. This has no sentimental value. Right. This is like, hey,
it was a cool game.
Yeah, let's do Christmas in July. You buy me, I buy you, and then we'll just go from there. And if you want to keep it, great. But if not, I think it's a really sort of good testament to what that knife means to you as an individual, and whether or not I was able to win him over. And I think what I did was I think I broke the ice on Gerber for him, right, and warmed him up. I mean, he's obviously not going to be totally on fire because he doesn't hit all of his points perfectly.
Well, right? it's because Gerber has a stigma, right? I used to carry Gerber.
Yeah.
But I feel like Gert's SOG did the same thing, or SOG, or however you pronounce it. They were making really great knives and then kind of sold out, and then kind of have come back to the fold. And I will say, I'm really impressed with their return to the fold with this knife.
Yep.
It feels like classic Gerber.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. I am keeping mine. This thing is not for sale. This knife is so cool. I've enjoyed it. I figured out, the sharpness and how to get it where I want it. I enjoy using it. I enjoy carrying it. This knife is the second kind of cool for me, as nothing fancy would say, and I enjoy it a lot. And it is a tuxedo knife. It is that black knife with just slight pops of color, which I really like. It'd be neat if they did something with red, like black, but then like maybe the letter was red, or the button, maybe a higher end version, kind of to do with the Godfather. Yeah, like do a design, or
what about
like
a ruby
a ruby inside? Because you could do a ruby here and probably still keep the knife under $400, And
even a fake ruby would be cool.
Yeah, a crystal of some kind or what, I don't know. There's Swarovski. You can do Swarovski, right? I don't know, just ways you could really kind of dress it up, or
a diamond.
Well, that's true. But a pop of color would be kind of neat with red, and be something that wasn't necessarily in the wear items just going to turn, flake off. Like, that would be cheesy, but like have something really legitimately red to pop. I think black and red's cool. So, but anyway, I'm keeping it.
Or even Cerakote the button red, or powder coat it red. Well,
exactly.
However they do that finish.
However they do the finish, right? Make it really, really tough. Anyway, well, those are my thoughts and ideas. And tell us what you guys think. What do you guys like about these knives? Do you own them? If so, let us know.
Yeah.
Do you guys own a Propel? Do you use it? How is it held up? And let me know about how you carry your Kwaiken. Do you prefer the big one? Because that would be kind of on my radar. Either that or a Godfather would be kind of on my radar.
Yeah.
So. But this has its own appeal. I really like the Japanese feel.
Yeah, no, right. I think it adds to it.
It's so weird because American culture is like so big in Japan, and kind of Japanese design, not necessarily culture, but Japanese design is huge in America.
Yeah.
We love Japanese cars, Japanese design knives, like Japanese themed TV and all this different stuff. Like Dragon Ball Z. I mean, we eat all the Japanese stuff up. Not so much the culture, whereas they kind of do a little bit more of they have like themes and stuff, like with cosplay and things. They dress up Elvis. Like, they get more into the rockabilly. Rockabilly is huge over there. It's just interesting how we kind of deal with Japanese stuff, but definitely like, the whole samurai feel of this thing.
No, cool. For sure. And this is a utilitarian knife.
Yes.
A lot of people will think there are people that will think that it's cool, and I can see why they would.
Yeah.
It's just, nothing against the knife. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Cool.
It's a beast.
This is for me.
This is a tank of a knife.
Yep. Yeah, but I did successfully warm you up, and you were excited that we have an American manufacturer making a comeback with domestic products.
Yes, and I'm actually really impressed. Carrying this and using it. Like, honestly, I felt like I couldn't even really put it through its paces, because I felt like everything that I would do with the knife was like underwhelming to the knife. The knife could handle so much more than I put it through.
Yeah,
like this knife could seriously take a beating. I'd have nothing but high praise. Obviously, if we would have done a scoring system, it would have probably scored really, really high. With the exception of the cool factor, which is all really...
It's subjective.
It is subjective. It's all about your personal taste.
But it's not an Instagram queen. You don't see people taking pictures of it. You see this in a lot of posts. So.
This is a knife that, you're going to beat the crap out of, and it's going to keep on going.
Yeah. So, there you go.
Yeah, Christmas in July.
Christmas in July. It's a wrap, baby.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it. If not, please let us know in the comments section. We love to hear all of your comments. And
I'm interested to know, what you guys kind of thought about Christmas in July and this kind of idea that we did. Would you like to see more of this kind of thing?
Was it kind of entertaining?
Yeah, because we might bring it back at Christmas. We might do this and some other things. So
yeah, we might do a Christmas video, but they actually have to keep the knife, because then it would be sentimental.
Yeah.
So then I actually have to buy something that I think you would really dig, and hey, that's what we'll do. Get a few comments below. Let us know what you think. Should we buy each other a knife that we actually think they would really love, really want, and see what their reaction is? Will we win or fail at that? So let us know in the comments. And in the meantime, stay sharp.
Stay sharp.